Hey everybody, and welcome back to Pardon Will Live. It has been 2 weeks. I've been gone for 2 weeks, and all hell broke loose. What did you guys do? What's going on here? What's America up to? Anyway, we're going to talk about it. We're going to do a little bit of a recap. Breaking news: Joe Biden stepping down. So we're going to hit that right off the bat. But then we're going to do a little bit of a recap of this election cycle and talk about it. Because, like I said before, guys, if you think this is bad, it's only going to get worse. And lo and behold, it got worse. Well, I say worse. I mean, I would assume this is worse. I don't know how you feel. We saw a bunch of people getting fired for things that they were tweeting and posting on Facebook this week. We're going to talk about that as well. And all of that. But before we go any further, while I was gone, you guys think I was on vacation. Again, I don't take vacations. You guys know that. So if I'm not doing the Pardon Will Lives, you guys know I'm up to no good. And so what I've been doing was clean up my website. So if you want to sponsor this podcast, you can go here, pardonwill.com, bring you right here. So this is what I was doing over the break. If you want to support, and I kept going to like merch, you can go to merch. You can pick out a cool t-shirt. Nothing new up here yet. But what is new is you can go to fine art, click at the tab, and I got all my fine art up here, all the way dating back to way back when. So that's a cool little gallery. Or you can go to comic art. Now, this one took me the longest. So here's all of my comic art that I have available as well. And so you can go through here, scroll through, and be like, oh man, I like that Batman symbol. The Sword of Omens from Thundercats tells you all about it down here at the bottom. And if you're like, wow, I really like that one, if you click on it, it'll take you to my shop on Etsy. And then here you can actually peruse and be like, I love this. I would love a print of this. I want 20 of them, and I want it 5x7 or 8x10. And those will get printed out and sent to you directly. So this is all setting this up. Finally, taking all of my my website stuff and bringing it all to one. So that's what I was doing, trying to clean that thing up. I kept mentioning it in the podcast, being like, well, go to the website, but it's only halfway done. The poetry tab, don't click on that one. That's still under construction. I don't even know when I'm going to get to that. I've got a bunch of other stuff coming down the pipe, whatever that is. But if you want to support, you can always go there and buy some stuff, merch, art, whatever, anything to your heart's content. You can buy my book. That thing's still for sale. I've got tons of stuff, setting that up for whatever I want to do later on in the future, like a Patreon locals thing where I just mail you stuff. Anyway, or you can like and subscribe if you're a jabroni. Only if you're a jabroni. If you're not a jabroni, don't bother messing with us. But anyway, missed you guys. All hell broke loose over the past 2 weeks. The first thing, and it's breaking news, and it's all over the internet. If you haven't heard yet, Biden's stepping down. And in his thing, we're gonna watch a little video. Let's take a look at that real quick. Let's take a look at the release. Of course, Morning Joe is not going on because it's it's not morning and it's not the weekday. But we got Jen Psaki, who used to be Biden's press secretary. We got her filling in. She's going to break this down, and we're going to take a look. So let's see.
We have breaking news here. President Biden has announced he will stand down from the race. I'm going to read the statement here on my phone. We also have Tim Miller, who's going to be joining us shortly. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation.
Awesome.
In lowering prescription drug costs for seniors.
I'm assuming rebuilding is from the COVID part. So that's funny that they put rebuilding our nation, but we've got the best economy, even though the inflation is just not rising as fast as it was. This is going to go into jobs. We got tons of jobs rebuilding, more jobs created ever after the COVID thing.
Seniors and an expanding affordable.
Oh, by the way, she's reading the statement Biden put out. So that's what she's just reading it off. You can tell this is like breaking news. They're like, hurry up, get to the studio. Or she probably lives there. She probably lives in the studio. Let's be honest. She lives there. But either way, they got her and she's just reading this thing out. So let's keep going.
Healthcare to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances. Passed the first, thank you so much. I'm just going to read off the paper here. Passed the first safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century.
Well, half of the American people, because the other half are deplorables and domestic terrorists. So just half of the American people couldn't have done this without it.
Pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as.
All right, spoiler alert, I've already watched this, and we're not actually going to watch anymore. Just want to kind of get you an idea of what the statement says. Hey, my name's Joe Biden. I did all this great stuff. Now, let me tell you, I'm stepping down. But he didn't just say when he said that. He's standing by. He's standing down. He's not stepping down. He's standing down and standing by. We've heard that phrase before. Anyway, he goes on and on. So Biden's out of the game. Biden's no longer with us. Almost said that. He's still here. He's still here. He's going to be, I don't know what eating ice cream. Oh, speaking of which, this is why I think it was great that it was today. I don't know if you know this, but today is National Ice Cream Day. It's the International Day of Ice Cream. I think Joe Biden picked this specifically. He was like, I am going to leave, he's not technically leaving, he's still president, which means, when he did on that day of the ice cream, I just thought that was a cool quinkydink. But that also means Joe Biden's still our president all the way up till January? And I hope this keeps going until then. Let's hope we still have a country by the time Joe Biden actually steps down. But that's the thing we're going to talk about tonight. So before we get crazy off into conspiracy world, let's just do a small recap. It's probably going to be a short episode. I just want to go over a few things in case you forgot. Election year 2024. Let's start off. Trump indicted. And we're like, oh my God, they're not really going to convict them. They're going to look at the cases from all the way from Georgia and Florida, all the way into New York. Stuff going all over the place. Indicted for property taxes. He took out a loan for a property and appraised it for much more than it was worth. And they're like, you can't do stuff like that. You're going to jail. Anyway, not only was he indicted for all these, he actually got convicted for them. 94 or 84 count or whatever. Who cares? 34 counts. Doesn't matter. None of that stuff actually matters because we all know it wasn't really real. And so none of that actually matters. But that was a historical event. On the other side, in the Democrat area, we got Joe Biden lying, the entire lying thing about him not being senile, although everyone could see it. He's got the whole media in the bag. They're all coming out being like, Joe Biden's on fire. Morning Joe coming in. We saw those clips. He ain't going to stop. He's going to go forever. He ain't ever leaving office because he's the smartest. He's got the smartest people around him, Dr. Joe Biden and Hunter, which Joe says is the smartest person he knows. But you also got RFK popping up on the ticket, wanting to run for president. And they just booted him right out. So now RFK, a hardcore Democrat, is an independent. That was pretty surprising. But that wasn't all. Trump gets convicted of all these things and then raises a ton of money after he's convicted. And we're all like, is this guy going to go to jail? For a month there, we talked about, is he going to go to jail? And then simultaneously, Hunter Biden, the president's son, gets convicted as well. And we're like, oh my God, the president's son's going to jail. The guy running on the Republican ticket, he's going to jail. And then you're like, well, this is all great news, but what's going on over at the libertarian movement? Like, well, libertarians are, they're a kooky bunch. They're fun. They're all my friends. They got some good ideas, so we talk about them. Well, what's going on over there? Boom. Trump's going to the RNC. That's historical for the libertarians. They ain't seen nothing like that. That was big news. I talked about that for like a friggin' month. That was super big news. You're like, wow, this is getting crazy. And then a bunch of, other stuff starts going on. Things get weird. Sure enough, a week ago, guys, we got the assassination attempt on our boy Trumpers. Wild. And so I'm going to do a short, I don't know. I honestly, for the past 2 weeks, I've kind of clocked out. It's hard not to pay attention because all the stuff going on. But what we do know is we don't know anything about it other than the complete lack and failure. We're just not sure who to blame at this point in time. The memes have been awesome. I love the memes. And I do wonder if we're ever going to see any information about this or if it's going to get swept under the rug. So here's the thing about the 24 news cycle you guys know about. Big thing happens. Then no, everyone forgets about it 3 days later because why? Well, why would they forget about it? Because another big thing happens. And it's just been getting worse and worse and speeding up and speeding up. Now, on the assassination thing. All right. I don't think anyone saw that coming. But there has been a ton of, I remember like months ago, RFK wanting Secret Service. And Joe Biden being like, yeah, I ain't getting Secret Service. And then like a month later, Congress is saying we're trying to pass some kind of thing, trying to move Secret Service from old Trumpy boys. And that seemed kind of weird. And then we see this and we're like, well, how in the heck did some kid get on a sloped roof that we're being told is too slippery for anybody to get up on? How to get up there and take that fire and shot. Now, the conspiracies are you have deep state, seems somewhat malicious deep state, out to get Trump. You have incompetence just on all around, maybe DEI hires. A bunch of people don't know what they're doing. They're scared to get up on a 312 pitched roof. I don't know if you know this, but that's not a very steep roof. You saw the pictures. Or Trump planned it himself. But the problem is some serious things happened. Some people really got injured. Now people are still claiming that Trump has a bandage over his ear because he isn't. He's lying about it. It's not real. Or maybe the glass from something. Somebody threw a glass bottle at him like it's a Kid Rock concert or something like that. So here's my take on all of it. I don't know. You don't know. None of us knows. It seems so outrageously suspicious that there's something that shouldn't have happened. I mean, aside from the incompetence, that it definitely seems like there's a conspiracy afoot. Now I know what you're thinking, David. Conspiracies? What are you talking about? Conspiracies? No one's dealing with these conspiracies. But the JFK thing, I mean, it's pretty much even RFK comes out and he thinks the CIA shot his dad or his uncle. And so the conspiracies are not real anymore. People use that as a pejorative. It's not. It's just legit. Things aren't what they seem to be, especially coming from the government. So you guys all know that. I don't have to go into it. I personally do not think Trump planned this or faked it. It doesn't seem it doesn't seem probable. It doesn't seem plausible. And I said this earlier. If you were Trump and you were already that far in the polls and they're like, you know what, Mr. Trump, would send this thing right over the bat. You taking one for the team. You don't have to go all the way out. Just a little nick. We'll go from there. And that'll really push you over the goal line. It's in the bag from then on. I don't think Trump would be like, yeah, no, that sounds like a good idea. Even though I'm ahead in the polls and it looks like I'm going to win, let's go ahead and jump this shark. I don't think that seems likely at all. So I don't think he staged it. Now you're like, well, David, you do not believe Trump would do something like that? Maybe, but not when he's ahead in the polls. I don't think he's in that category of mental. I don't think he's in the Joe Biden category in that sense. Now, do I think the government did it, or what three-letter agencies was planning on this? Is that MK Ultra? Was that kid? All the things coming out that he had like some kind of rangefinder, a drone, explosives, like bank accounts. I don't know if you guys have kept up with this stuff everywhere. There's conspiracies about multiple shooters now. Again, it's so all over the place. If we can just get some facts right, no one knows. The lady who's in charge of the Secret Service legit came out and said the roof was a little too steep. She was worried about sending guys up there. The ladder, all of the things. If you were to sit and just look at Pepe Sylvia, I got flying around her, Pepe Sylvia, and you're like, look at all and you just, string lines on the maps and the pictures, and you conspiracy theory it out. I think you might go insane. I think what you best can do is go, hey, we'll see when the facts come out, if they ever do. And if they don't, let's move on to the next thing. Because here's the thing. All of the things that I said earlier, all of those things, they're coming through. Too quick and too fast. You're not going to be able to keep up with this. There's no way you can keep up with all the things that are changing all the time. And if you try to, if you got the time and the effort, go ahead and do that. But don't forget any of the other world that's going around. So here's the thing. It's gotten crazy so far. It's an election year. We knew this. Last time, election year, we had riots, things burning down. We haven't gotten there yet. We might have been really close to that last week. But with old Joey Biden stepping down is a whole nother news cycle. So people aren't even talking about that. And no one's really even talking about the thing that I wanted to talk the most about. Hulk Hogan. Can we take a minute just to appreciate this? Now, I know the memes instantly came out and they're like, oh my God, it's Idiocracy, the one with Command Show, and he's the wrestler and he's running for president. I get it. And everyone's like, this is a clown show. Look at why is Hulk Hogan doing the speech at the RNC? What I think you fail to realize is how awesome that was. I wasn't ever a really big wrestling fan, but Hulk Hogan is a real American hero. And he's iconic as far as an American goes. And you could say that was a ridiculous. I love that I'm devoting more time to Hulk Hogan in this podcast than anything else, but it's well deserved. You could say it's ridiculous that Trump would have Hulk Hogan there backing him up if you didn't have the whole Democrat regime pulling out every TikToker and YouTuber that they can to tour the White House. No, don't forget, they literally 2 months ago got Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker smashed, and then put him up on the the press podium to talk to the press. Dude, they do this stuff all the time. The whole thing's a clown show. I don't know how many times I got to say this. The whole thing, the whole situation's a clown. Politics, it's a giant clown show. That's why we like to get on here and laugh at it. Mostly laugh at the media because they take it seriously more than anybody else. Now, I do take the Hulk Hogan seriously because I don't, about time, right? Like the Amber Rose thing everyone's talking about, like apparently the Republicans are big tents. They're just letting anybody in who wants to support Trump. Bring it on. I love it. And what you do get out of that is you get a larger tent. You get a lot of principles and philosophies shoved under this tent, and it really upsets Republicans because like, oh, we're the family values, policy party, whatever. Those days are long gone, guys. I hate to tell you. We're not playing politics the way you used to play politics. If you're a hardcore politico out there and you're like, I've been listening to all these talk radio shows since back in the 80s. This is how politics is always run. Look at the polls and you can just the swing states here. Nope, throw it all out the window. We are driving with no hands on the steering wheel at this point in time. Everything's up for grabs. I kept trying to tell people who are really into politics that you're not playing the same game anymore. You're going to have to shift. You're going to have to move. You're going to have to duck and you're going to have to flow. So I like what Trump's done so far. Now, I know a lot of the abortion stuff Trump came out was like, even Project 2025. I'm trying not to ramble here, but Project 2025 is the thing Democrats been shoving in your face online. But like, have you seen this thing? It wasn't even Trump's cabinet, but even then, like, it's all a mockery. I haven't read it. I keep seeing things of people making stuff up like $5 long footlongs we're going to get from Subway. That's in Project 2025. A bunch of cool stuff like that. The McRib is going to come back and it's going to stay forever. I think that's a good way to take all of this fear mongering from the Democrats of how horrible Trump's going to be. Because here's the truth. We've already had 4 years of Trump. And the worst thing that anybody on the left can say is be like, but Russia was fake. Well, that was ridiculous. But all the things he got indicted for, that was all fake. The only thing you could say was J6. Be like, he didn't want to relinquish the presidency, except for he did. Except for that time he gave a speech and told them to peacefully go down there. All of it's all a joke. It's all a joke. And then the big thing is like, he said he's going to be dictator on day one. Say he's going to be dictator on day one for a day. And then he said the only reason is because of two things on that dictator quote. And I saw libertarians freaking out about this. I can't vote for him. I hate dictators. He said he was going to deport a bunch of people and he was going to drill baby drill. It's a big tent, guys. Those are like his principles. So all the minutia things the Republican Party be like, well, we stand for this and this and this and this. And, we do want an abortion ban. Trump's coming in being like, no. We just want to get America back on its feet. And I think that's great. And I think that's why you have a bunch of people coming in like Hulk Hogan, Amber Rose, and, whoever else, whatever celebrities coming in. And I don't think you should kick them out. Not yet. I think start off being like, we want to unify under this. And if we make it a big enough tent, we don't get super specific. Our main thing is we just want to make America great again. And here's how we think it is. Now, the abortion ban thing, that's Supreme Court issue. It's back to the states. No one really cares about that. The only people who care about that are people who are still trying to tell you that there's going to be a ban. And I don't even see how a pathway towards that. I don't even see a pathway towards that. Even if you wanted it, you're like, I want complete totalitarian state. I don't see a pathway for that. Definitely not under Trump. So I think the Big Tent Republican thing, what Trump's done is great. And here's how you know it's great. It's because I listened to a ton of lefties this past week. And the one thing that they keep pointing out, maybe not so much from here on out, but this whole past week after the Butler rally, is it seems like the Republicans are super unified and cohesive. And it seems like the Democrats were in their own civil war scrambling all over the place, which technically seems like the roles reversed because Democrats are always falling in line. Like Joe Biden's not senile; he's perfectly fit. Look, he does jumping jacks in the back room. We see it all the time. You just can't. They haven't. You just don't know, but it's totally true. Lockstep Democrats. Republicans are always over there bickering about each other because they believe in principles. They actually have morals and stuff that they want to argue about. Democrats don't even have arguments. They send out the script and everyone falls in line, goes with it. The Israel-Palestine thing kind of threw everything off on both parties. Libertarian Party too, on all the parties. That was kind of a weird teeter-totter where you have a big split in the parties on that. But Democrats did a pretty good job staying unified. Now the roles are switched. And the only reason I think that is because of old Trumpy boy. I think if DeSantis would have made it in, I do not think you would have the unity that you have. The other thing is, I don't know if anybody would have took a shot on DeSantis either, though. And so that would have been different. And people kept saying that, but like, you imagine if it was DeSantis instead of Trump on that stage. What if he didn't turn his head? That'd have been rough. I like DeSantis. He's a young buck. I don't want him going. I don't want anybody going anywhere. Here's my other thing. I was not stoked about the news today. I wanted Joe Biden to ride this thing out. I wanted to run again. I wanted to see what he could do in the next 4 years. JK. I thought he'd be an easy defeat. I thought we were on a. I definitely didn't want to see. That's if he would have made the next 4 years. Let's be honest, guys. But I didn't want to see what else damage he can do. And I know all the stats come out in the stock market and all Joe Scarborough's coming out telling me how great America is. Except for no one sees it. I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere I go. Doesn't seem like at all. Millennials aren't buying houses. No one can afford groceries. Got a moth flying around in my studio. Right. Yeah, right there. Things are falling apart. I'm about to Gandalf it. We're going to fly the Eagles to Mordor with this moth. Anyway, I don't think it's going to get any better, guys. This might be the most unified the Republican Party's ever been. And so hold on to it and ride it. I have no predictions about who's going to be running. It seems like Kamala is going to be the next president. Who knows who she's going to pick for VP? But I'm kind of out of the prediction game. I've seen so much. Everybody's all over the world. All over the place. Dude, this moth is crazy. And I don't have any predictions. I just know that if you think it's wild so far, I don't see it slowing down. I don't see it getting better. I don't see things calming down, guys. I see it. I think I think we ripped the break. I think we're in that movie Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. I think the bus is going, and if we slow down, I think if we slow down anymore, everything is going to blow up. So in this accelerationist theory, let's just keep riding it out. I hope everyone stays safe. But the thing I'm going to say is, I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think it's going to go back to normal. So I hope things correct themselves pretty quick. I'd like to see that. I hope things kind of go. It's not going to get better till it gets worse. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying not to be a doomsayer here. So that's my ideas for now. I think it's definitely not boring. Here's the one thing I'll tell you. This is a little insider baseball. It's easier for me to do Pardon What Lives when there's not much going on, especially when there's not breaking news on the day I plan on doing it. I much prefer when it's like, hey, you guys want to talk about Star Wars and Joe Biden made a gaffe? Let's play that clip. That's fun. But when you start to get into like some serious deep state assassination kind of territory and Joe Biden stepping down because, that was the other thing. He was like, yeah, I might step down if, I get sick. And then 2 hours later, he's like, I got COVID. And you're like, oh, come on. Like, we all saw that coming. We were all pretty well prepared for Joe Biden to step down. But we've never seen this before. We've never seen anything like this. This is totally new. This is totally new to us. And so that's what kind of makes me like, I'm not ready to settle in and be like, oh, hey, finally we've got, it's Kamala versus Trump. So we can move forward with a normal political I don't think it's going to be like that. Oh, and this weekend, on top of that, a bunch of things shut down. Like people said they couldn't use credit cards and hacking or whatever. I didn't even look into that because at this point in time, again, you can't focus on all of the stuff, move all the moving pieces. There's people out there doing that, and that's great. But I personally can't. I got too much stuff going on at the same time. I've got all kinds of other cool projects that I want to do. Anyway, hopefully tonight wasn't super boring. I did want to bring up one more thing. Told you it was going to be super quick. Next week I'll go longer, but just coming off a sabbatical. So, and plus, again, the big news deals like everybody's got channels talking about this, and they're all way more insightful than I am. I did want to bring up one thing that I thought back to this deep state conspiracy thing. So the past few weeks I've been bringing up The Boys because I've been watching The Boys. I love The Boys. I love the show. It's a great show. And in it, I pointed out a few things. I know they wrote the Homelander character to be similar to Trump. I did point out that the main character's old dad, very similar to Biden. Thought that was a pretty cool thing. But it's all caricature. It's all fanatical. It's all, let's take the things about the right wing and let's explode it. And let's, mock the right wing. And they kind of mock the left wing at the same time. But it was a pretty easy contrast. You know who they were writing to, who they were writing for, who they put the good guys and who they put the bad guys on, and the points that they made. It's not like it couldn't have been political. It's not like they weren't aware what they were doing. But the Homelander trial, because he killed somebody on Fifth Avenue, which was something that we all talked about. Trump said he could, if he killed somebody on Fifth Avenue and no one would arrest him. So that actually happens in the story. And the trial gets out right at the same time Trump's trial gets out. And there's riots in the show and not riots in real life. And I made a point being like, I think they were expecting riots when Trump got convicted. And it didn't happen. That white roll rage never happened because that was what they were trying to provoke. And then a bunch of other stuff happened that just seemed to kind of mimic. Everything that was happening in the show was actually happening in real life. And then before the season finale, I took this week off and I shouldn't have. They led up to the idea that they were planning an assassination for the guy running for the guy running for president, who's going to be the president-elect. I was like, that's kind of spooky. And then it happened in real life. And I was like, why is everything that's happening on the show happening in real life? Seems kind of weird. So much so that when it got to the season finale, because the season finale, the planning assassination happened on the week that the Trump's assassination attempt happened. And then that episode lets off that Thursday, and then that Saturday it happens. And then this past Thursday, the season finale, they had a disclaimer at the beginning saying like, hey, we understand there's some political things going on right now. We did not intentionally write this. That's how crazy this has been. They actually had to put a warning up at the beginning of the episode of the assassination attempt on the president-elect. They had to put a warning up, been like, hey, we're not saying doing anything. We wrote a story. It just happens to be very much like The Simpsons, how we predict everything. Anyway, I thought that was super weird. If you want a good conspiracy, look into that. One other thing that I didn't see anybody talk about that I want to say. One of the things that I really like The Boys is because I love the show Supernatural, which is that Mike guy who made The Boys, the showrunner for The Boys, same guy who helped with Supernatural. Love that show. Went on for like 15 years. Great show. One of the main, they keep bringing characters from that show into this one. And the president-elect is President Singer. And in the show, he plays the same actor. He plays a guy named Bobby. I thought it was great. And then one of the writers for Supernatural, his name's Bob Singer. And so they kept doing that. But in the show Supernatural, he had this phrase line he would call everybody idiots. It was kind of his way of saying idiots, Midwestern thing or whatever. And then they threw one of those in at that last episode, The Boys. Just a little sleight of hand for all you Supernatural fans out there. And you haven't watched The Boys yet, go watch The Boys. You're going to see a ton of cool stuff. And they do a little bit of a nod to you. So if you're a Supernatural fan, The Boys definitely didn't let you down. But again, thought that was weird. There's a good conspiracy. Is the deep state part in helping write The Boys? Who knows? Maybe so. What are they trying to tell us? What is the Illuminati trying to tell us to The Boys? Probably that Trump is a superhuman and he's got super reflexes. That's how it missed. I'm joking. I'm just playing. I'm trying to bring some levity to a very serious situation. But let's not overlook the most serious thing that has happened over the past election cycle. And the most important thing that has ever happened in an election cycle is Hulk Hogan coming out, ripping his shirt off with the Trump Vance, dude. Oh, we can talk about the vice president. I don't know anything about the Vance guy. He seems like out of all of the pick, I would have went for Vivek. He seems okay. I'll go with the Vance guy. To be honest, it's not like my opinion changes anything. It's not like it even changes your opinion. It's just an opinion. And I don't think Trump's a messiah. I don't think he's going to fix everything in 4 years. I think if he did everything the Democrats, actually, let's pull back. I want to end it with this. This is why when I say things are going to get crazier. And I made a mention this to a friend of mine. The political situation's never been like what it's been now. When there was an assassination attempt on a president, like back in Reagan, the country was not near split on where it is now. We weren't having the unrest, the political tension growing to where it is now. This is something we've never seen before, maybe in the Civil War era. Lo and behold, that president got assassinated. So maybe we haven't seen anything since then. I'm not saying we're in the Civil War, but it definitely seems like we're in territory we haven't been in a really long time. And how you know is everyone online, every lefty Democrat online, every time they post an ad, like a what are those called? Like a hit piece on Trump, like an ad to tell you how bad Trump is. If you read what they say, everybody on the right's like, yeah, no, I like that. And every time the right's like, hey, Biden wants, you know what? Well, actually, I don't know if this works, but I do know that every time the left is like, do you see how terrible this thing is that Trump wants to do? All the right's like, dude, if he does that, that would be awesome. That's how that's how you know how crazy it is right now. The things that in the Project 2025, I'm pretty sure if I read that, I'd be like, this doesn't seem bad at all. It seems pretty awesome. And so I don't see even Agenda 47, I think is the thing that Trump has, his plan. All of it looks great. It's not even near what I would want it to be. Every time Robert De Niro comes out and be like, here's what Trump's going to do if he's elected, I'm like, I wish Trump was the guy that everyone thought he was. Again, like, I don't know if I have enough faith in Trump that everyone else does. I don't have a lot of faith in the guy. I do think after this past week, he might be a better president. And we already saw a glimpse of it at the debate. He didn't act like old Trump that we know. He acted like a totally different person. And if you watch the RNC in her speech, he seems like a different guy. Seems like two different people. Old Trump, bombastic, tweeting out all kinds of funny stuff, mean tweets left and right. New Trump is like, he came with his game hat on. He put his football helmet on. He's ready to get after it. So anyway, I don't know what we're gonna see. I do know it's gonna get crazier. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe everything settles out. At first, I thought with the Biden thing, when he came out, he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in. And then you heard whispers of Democrats being like, all right, well, we're not going to win this one. What we can do is plan for the future, plan for the midterms, and then plan for the next one. At that point in time, I was like, okay, maybe things will settle down. But now Joe Biden's stepping down. And I think as in all of the Republicans are unified, I think this one singular moment that had all the Democrats in chaotic mess, I think what the game plan was get Biden out and then everybody show up in lockstep. And I think we're going to have a very unified Democrat Party and a very unified Republican Party. And that sounds great for both parties, except for it doesn't sound great for America, because if both of them are extremely entrenched in their things, that gap between the right and the left is only getting wider. And all you independents out there like me, you guys are, I don't know. Do you saddle up? Do you just go, all right, I'm going to have to pick one? I mean, you can vote Libertarian. I'm not saying don't vote Libertarian. Go ahead. You and the other 0.7%, that's cool. But I just don't see that being, it's just not in this election, unless things go back to normal. If this seems to be politics as usual, vote Libertarian. Why not? Everyone, all libertarians for the past 8 years have told me that all the left and the right are the exact same people. And I kept saying, like, I don't know about this Trump guy. He doesn't seem like a normal Republican. Lo and behold, he's not. And I don't think you can still play that card. But the left and right are the same, two wings of the same bird analogy thing. I don't think it works that way. I think it was. I don't think so now. And so if you're libertarian, you're going to vote for old Chase Oliver. Have at Haas. I wouldn't want Chase. I like some of the things, very few, but honestly, the Chase Oliver thing was like, oh, that's right, that's what a libertarian is. And so technically, I'm a right wing sort of. I'm like a Thomas Massey kind of libertarian, right? I'm not a Republican, but I would vote Republican before I vote whatever Chase Oliver wants to do. I get it. I get it. He's like, well, no more wars. I'm all for no more wars too. But Trump didn't start any new wars. So maybe we won't get any. Maybe he'll shut all this crazy war stuff down. But when I say things are getting crazy out there, a lot of weird things on the horizon. And Joe Biden stepping down doesn't help anything. If anything, it's just gonna get crazier, guys. It's gonna get crazier. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Sorry this was such a milk toast episode. Again, coming off a sabbatical, I've been working hard on some other things. Website's up to date. So if you want to support the podcast, go to pardonwell.com, buy some stuff, buy some merch, buy some art, support the podcast, do all that good stuff. But in the meantime, stay safe and keep paying attention and send me all your best conspiracy theories. I may not read them. At this point in time, I'm a bit fatigued. And at this point in time, if you're like, no, there are no conspiracies, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I don't know what to tell you anymore. If you're like, no, everything's up and up, all this deep state stuff is not real, quit being, where have you been, dude? Where have you been? And how are you feeling with this election cycle? Does it seem normal? Last time we had a pandemic and riots in the streets. We even surprised, to be honest? Are we even surprised of all the things that have happened so far? And if we're not surprised, then how can we be surprised in the next, what do we have, 3 months? Anyway, hope you guys are safe. Go out, touch grass. Don't get too crazy in the politics. I know I haven't. That's why I'm no good to you at this point in time. Other than giving you my good conspiracies about the boys. One last thing before we let off. Deadpool is coming out this week. I'm going to go see it before Sunday. I think I'm back in town. I'm going out of town. I think I'm back in town. So I should be here on Sunday. We're going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. And then hopefully nothing political happens in the meantime. And so we can just focus on fun stuff. Unless something crazy happens. I'm sure I'll have a Morning Joe clip. We'll rag on that guy. That guy's not doing good. Oh, someone should check in on Morning Joe. Oh, God. That might be something. We should probably check in on that guy. Monday morning, if they cancel it again, they might have to. He's probably not doing very good. Everyone say a prayer for old Joe Scarborough. He's probably not having a good day. Anyway, hope you guys are great. I will see you back here next time.